In this Elden Ring video, we're going to talk a little bit about Shadow of the Erdtree. We're going to talk a little bit about Elden Ring Mobile rumors swirling around, and just kind of talk a little bit about Elden Ring. I don't normally do videos like this, but there's not a lot going on in Elden Ring. We do have some more builds coming out, and we're going to be wrapping up the rest of our weapon guides. I do have a series planned for the skills or weapon skill guides and Ash of Wars as well, leading up to the launch of the DLC. But let's get into what's happening with Elden Ring right now. So first of all, people are probably wondering at this point, where is Shadow of the Erdtree? You know, we're hearing rumors of a mobile game. We still haven't even seen an announcement trailer for Shadow of the Erdtree. And February is halfway over, and people are going like, why haven't we heard any news about this game? And I think it's very likely that we will hear something before Game Developer Conference, which is near the end of March on the 18th. I just can't imagine Game Developer Conference coming and going, and we haven't heard anything about this game. Game Developer Conference is getting bigger and bigger every year with the announcement that E3 is no longer happening, and obviously it hasn't been happening for many years now. It's just been growing. GDC has been growing, and I feel like in some ways that E3 is kind of split into Summer Game Fest and GDC. And you're seeing some of the things happening business-wise in the game industry now happening at GDC, and some of them are happening at Summer Game Fest. So if we don't hear anything, by GDC or during GDC, I'm going to be very, very shocked. And this kind of leads me to where is the DLC? What's the timeline looking like right now? We mentioned back, last year that if we didn't hear anything at the Game Awards, it wouldn't be a great sign in terms of Elden Ring's DLC coming soon, because historically, Fromsoftware and Bandai Namco do sort of like a press tour after their announcement trailer, and it usually kind of goes like announcement trailer, gameplay trailer, then they usually have like a hands-off presentation somewhere around the gameplay trailer, and then a bunch of press and influencers talk about their impressions of the game from what they've seen so far, usually not having played, or maybe in some cases having played. And then usually the release date is 3 weeks to a month after that, or maybe 2 months after that. So where does that put us if we follow that sort of press tour cycle that they normally do for these games? And obviously that really depends on when we see the announcement trailer, but I think you're looking at probably a 3 to 6 month window after that announcement trailer. So if that announcement trailer comes out, let's just say around GDC in March, or even, at the beginning of March, you're probably looking at between June and August in terms of a release date for Shadow of the Erdtree. That's probably not what a lot of people want to hear, and of course I could be wrong, but just historically, if you're looking at the track record, realistically, that's kind of what you're looking at. Another thing I think people wonder about is, if the cycle kind of repeats, will there be some sort of demo? Will there be a beta test for Shadow of the Erdtree? I don't think there will be. Historically, there haven't really been network tests or things like that run for the DLCs of Fromsoftware titles. I really don't think they're going to run another one here. It's possible that because of the size of Shadow of the Erdtree, we know it's going to be very large, that they might do something like that just because of the scale of it, and incorporating potentially a third or half of Elden Ring size into the game might cause some issues, and they might want to beta test that to work those out ahead of time. But I think realistically that's probably not going to happen. Another thing to mention too about Elden Ring's DLC Shadow of the Erdtree is that there have been some updates on Steam database recently, including to the art book and soundtrack, and some random update just a little bit ago. So that could give us some insight into some things that are coming. Perhaps a trailer is coming either at the anniversary of Elden Ring's launch, or perhaps a little bit further down the road, closer to GDC. These are some things that just kind of give a sign that stuff's happening, and we should probably expect to see something very soon about it. Now, moving on to the rumors about the Elden Ring mobile game. This is something we posted on our community page. We've been talking to people about it. Reuters is reportedly saying that they've talked to some people at Tencent, and that an Elden Ring game is in development based off Elden Ring that's going to be coming to mobile devices. We don't have any other data. We don't even have a source from that information other than it being Tencent employees. And there's not a lot of information out there. Everyone, of course, latched onto this and reported this, all the big outlets, etc. But there's really not a lot of information out there. In this article, it was reported that the game would follow kind of a free-to-play Genshin-like format, which I'm sure is very, very alarming to everyone. Genshin is an extremely interesting game, but I don't think Elden Ring fans are necessarily fans of Genshin. and I don't see them wanting to play that. We put up a poll on our YouTube channel. Clearly, the vast majority of people replying to that poll don't want to play the game. It's about 20% or so out of the people replied. Obviously, this is a small sampling. Would want to play that. So I don't think they're going to capitalize on the brand as much as they hope to, if that's actually what's happening. And, you know, because we didn't hear about this at all from anyone, and this was kind of like a surprise, it's very rare for me to hear something these days about Elden Ring that's in the news before I know about it. I immediately reached out to some of my contacts over at Tencent and said, you know, what's this about? Is there actually an Elden Ring mobile game? And as far as I can tell, you know, they don't have any idea what's going on. So this is either a super top secret project that was leaked by a couple of individuals, or this is really just rumors and it's not actually true. Admittedly, if it was just rumors, I don't know why Tencent wouldn't just come out and make a press statement saying this isn't happening, you know, please stop bothering us about this, etc. The fact that they haven't done that, you know, might mean that that is actually happening, but I cannot seem to get any information about it. No one I know knows anything about it. So this is a very, very hush-hush project if it's actually happening. And assuming there actually is an Elden Ring mobile game in development, you know, I don't think we're going to hear anything officially about it until after Shadow of the Erdtree. It wouldn't make sense from a marketing perspective to try and focus people onto that before Shadow of the Erdtree was, you know, out and published. So I think it's very unlikely that you're going to hear anything about Elden Ring Mobile for a very long time if it is true. And maybe if it's not true, you know, maybe you'll hear something soon kind of dispelling it. But otherwise, I don't expect to hear any more news about this. I think it was probably just a leak or a word of mouth that somebody said something about, and you're likely not going to hear anything until some sort of, you know, actual marketing campaign happens for that game. And kind of going back to the Elden Ring DLC for a minute, Shadow of the Erdtree, this is something I'm so excited for. I think a lot of new players have been playing Elden Ring since, you know, the winter months. Steam sales, Xbox, PlayStation sales happening. The game was the cheapest it ever was. There's a lot of new people playing Elden Ring. A lot of people anticipating an announcement from Fromsoftware. There's tons of coverage out there. You know, everyone's dissecting the slightest thing. So I think there's a lot of hype for Elden Ring going on. I think there's definitely seeing a little bit of a resurgence. It's probably tapered off a little bit in the last week or so because I think people were already expecting an announcement to have happened, and the fact that, you know, time has come and gone and it hasn't happened, I think people are kind of like a little bit down from that. But I think, you know, as soon as this announcement comes out, whenever it is in the next couple weeks or at GDC, it's going to just kick things off and you're going to see a fever for this game like we saw at the release of Elden Ring. And obviously, we're going to keep publishing Elden Ring content on this channel. I'm very excited to do more builds for the DLC content, to do weapon guides, to do, you know, all the things that you guys love about Elden Ring on this channel some more. So I'm very, very happy about that. And obviously, we'll keep rolling with the Elden Ring content between now and then too. Keep that hype train rolling, keep everyone's interest up. So hopefully we have a spectacular launch whenever Shadow of the Erdtree comes out. So what do you guys think in terms of Shadow of the Erdtree release date? Is it something that you think is going to happen in the time frame that I mentioned, somewhere between like maybe late June to August, or do you guys think it's going to happen earlier than that? Is my logic sound, or do you think it's flawed? Let me know in the comments below.